Hello my dears, today I will be getting into the nitty-gritty about how to find your personal style and confidence, and also just how I found my personal style, as well as some tips and tricks. This video is very much inspired by a video Best Dressed made a while ago, and I definitely do recommend checking out Ashley's video because her videos are always top tier, chef's kiss. But that is also why some of the things that I say may be similar to what Ashley says. I will also try to say some different things, and hopefully this will be helpful.
Before we dive into the rest of the video, I would like to thank today's sponsor, ThredUp, and I do have a special code for y'all to save some extra money, so stay tuned. ThredUp is an online thrift store with women's and kids clothes and carries over 40,000 brands like Zara and Free People. You can shop for high quality clothes, shoes, etc., all for up to 90% off of estimated retail. This J. Crew blouse's estimated retail is $80, but I got it for $17.99. This Linda Allard Ellen Tracy blazer is estimated to be $321, but I got it for $31.99. This Express skirt's estimated retail is $40, but I got it for $15.99. With those three items, I styled a fall outfit. I really love the way the blazer looks. I think blonde blazers are so rad, and I also let the sleeves peek out a little bit for a little pop. This Bizu Bizu top's estimated retail is $71, but I got it for $15.20. This 21 blazer's estimated retail is $30, and I got it for $11.99. This Carol Anderson skirt's estimated retail is $32, and I got it for $9.99. With those three pieces, I styled this outfit. I love how the red in the blazer ties in with the red in the skirt. Shopping secondhand is especially fantastic for when you're building a wardrobe because it's much better for the environment compared to traditional retail. Plus, it also saves money. Thank you again to ThredUp for sponsoring this video, and if y'all want to try out ThredUp, you can use the link below for an extra 30% off of your first order with my code RAY. And now, on with the video.
Right. My first piece of advice is to make a mood board, whether it's digital or actually hands-on. You definitely need to make a mood board. And why is that? Well, a mood board is very helpful for just dumping out all of your ideas, because that way you can kind of just assess what you want yourself to actually be, and it's a great way to brainstorm a little bit. I personally really love Pinterest. It single-handedly has done so much for my style, and I just really love looking at pretty pictures of pretty clothes. But if you're a crafty person, you can also physically make your mood board and, cut things out. My favorite sources of inspiration are definitely, like I said, Pinterest, Instagram, magazines from the 90s or 2000s, and also art. I really love looking at art as a source of inspiration as well, because it's kind of a fun way to look at what color schemes I'm personally interested in, and also I just really love art. My favorite artist when it comes to fashion stuff is definitely the iconic, the legendary Ai Yazawa. Her works are absolutely amazing. I read Paradise Kiss this summer, and it was honestly very life-changing. And something in my brain just clicked when I read it, and it opened up my eyes. Paradise Kiss. Definitely recommend when it comes to fashion, and also just the plot and storyline was very interesting, but this is not a manga recommendations video. Instagram and just social media in general is also a great way to find inspiration. However, this is a point that was also made in Ashley's video, but separate the persona of the person you're looking at from their fashion sense, because I feel like with social media, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of, oh man, if I looked like this person, I would be able to do this. And believe me, I've been there, and sometimes I still do it. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're using social media for fashion inspo, only focus on fashion stuff. Just kind of ignore everything else, block them out, and look at the clothes, and look at the articles of clothes that you like. On Instagram and Pinterest, you can save posts and also just sort them into folders. So I would definitely recommend making a folder dedicated to fashion on Instagram. And for Pinterest, I suggest making just a ginormous, massive board of all the fashion things you like, of all the outfits that you like, and I do not recommend like being super detailed and categorizing everything, if that makes sense. So you don't need a separate board for each individual season or, you know, separate colors. Just dump everything into one board, because then it's less of a hassle, and also you can just look at everything that you like and narrow it down from there. And I feel like with so many different boards, it's kind of harder to do that. And that also just helps with shopping, because you'll know what pieces you really like and you really want to incorporate into your wardrobe, and it kind of just defines your options a little bit more. If you're not a huge fan of using social media for fashion inspo, I also would recommend looking at art or looking at magazines from like the 90s or 2000s. Well, you can look at different eras, but personally for me, I really like the 90s and 2000s when it comes to fashion. And my personal favorite magazine for fashion inspiration would definitely have to be Fruits magazine. I really love just looking at how people layered clothes and how they played around with different accessories and different patterns. I forgot to mention TikTok, but TikTok can also be a great source of inspiration. However, the issue that I've noticed with TikTok is that there are a bunch of different micro trends that are constantly popping up, and it's kind of hard to like keep up with them. And I definitely do not recommend trying to buy a bunch of different things just to follow micro trends. Definitely assess which parts of the trend you like and try to incorporate just a specific piece of it rather than trying to follow the entire trend. Does that make sense? And speaking of micro trends, that brings us to the topic of trends. Trends are actually a very fun way to experiment with your style, and I do definitely think trying out different trends is a good way to kind of test the waters to see what you're comfortable with and also just what you like. Kind of just don't get sucked completely into the trend. Consciously follow the trend. I don't know if this is making sense, but what I'm trying to say is just if you like a trend, you can try it out, but also put your own little twist onto it. For example, for me, I really liked the grunge fairycore trend that popped up on TikTok, and my favorite part was definitely the jewelry aspect of it, and I really loved the long necklaces, so I began to incorporate long necklaces into clothes that I wore or just my outfits in general, and I really liked it. I also did like other parts of the trend, but I wasn't gonna just like follow everything exactly because I knew which part I liked specifically, and I chose to follow that part of the trend rather than the entire thing. Moving on to my third piece of advice, it would be to evaluate your entire wardrobe. And what I mean by this is declutter your closet. Try on everything. And when I say everything, I do mean every single article of clothing you own. Assess the wearability and versatility of every piece. Ask yourself, will I ever wear this again if I were to keep it? Does this fit into the style that I'm going for? Is this piece comfortable? When you clean out your closet, you can find out what pieces you really like or just you wear a lot. And this also lets you pick out what essential pieces of your wardrobe are. Referencing your mood boards when you're decluttering your closet is also a really great thing to do because it lets you know which pieces will fit into the style you're going for, and just you can know what to keep and maybe what to not keep. After you've decided which items you don't really like anymore, look at the items that you did decide to keep and notice what patterns and silhouettes and shapes and colors pop up frequently, because this will help create a nice foundation for building up your wardrobe again. For me, I really like plaid and pinstripe, and I will always gravitate towards plaid and pinstripe, but you may be someone who doesn't even like patterns at all, and that is perfectly okay, because you know what? This is your wardrobe, and you need to figure out what you are a fan of and what makes you feel happy when you wear it. And now, once you have decluttered your closet, it is time to go shopping. After you declutter your closet, you do not need to buy an entirely new wardrobe. I think it's better to just slowly build up your style over time and maybe buy 1 or 2 things that you think will fit into your style that you are going for, rather than getting an entirely new wardrobe after you just cleaned out your closet, because your tastes will evolve and change over time, and that's perfectly okay. I think investing in building block pieces is really great for building any type of style, because those pieces create a base to build up outfits with. And what I mean by that is just like plainer shirts, plainer bottoms, plainer shoes. You can never go wrong with a pair of just plain black pants. And even if you are someone who's going for like a more fun and exciting style, it's still good to have basics for those days that you don't know what to wear or what to do with your outfit. When you are looking for new clothes, you should also keep in mind of the clothes that you already own and if that item will go with the clothes that you already have, because you do not want to get like a super wild statement piece, but that piece doesn't even go with anything in your closet, and then you'll feel the need to buy more things just to match that one piece, but the new things you bought only match with that one piece, and that is very expensive and also very wasteful. Keeping in mind just what you already own when you're shopping is good to limit your purchases and just understand what you will actually use and if you will actually wear certain items after you've bought them. But this doesn't necessarily mean that you should limit yourself and like confine yourself to a set of rules. That is so vague. But what I'm trying to say is you can obviously still get some statement pieces that are kind of fun to change things up, and you know what, maybe you'll really like those statement pieces and you get a lot of use out of them. Now let's talk about building up confidence to be able to wear the clothes that you want to wear. Confidence is a different thing for everyone, I feel, so maybe like some of the things that I say may not apply to you, and that is okay. Take your time. I don't think it's really realistic to just be like, hey, if you're nervous, just stop being nervous. Because first of all, like, what? How do you just stop? As someone who is nervous 95% of the time, that statement is not very helpful. But I do recommend taking it slowly, and also you do need to kind of give yourself a push at first, but once you like gotten that momentum going, you can go at your own pace. I would definitely recommend starting off kind of small and then going bigger as your fashion journey goes along. So I would definitely suggest starting off with accessories, because accessories are always just a fun way to switch things up and also add a bit more bedazzle. Personally, for me, I would always be very nervous about how the kids at my school would perceive me, and I would like plan out these very cool outfits or outfits I thought looked good, and then the next day I would chicken out because I was nervous and scared. For me, I was pretty cautious about my style from around middle school up until freshman year, and I would just always be very nervous about how others would perceive me, because I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna get bullied. But you know what? People are gonna be rude to you no matter what. I know this sounds mean and like kind of harsh, but there are just people out there who are gonna be little poop heads no matter what you do. And you know, especially I think I realized that I'm not gonna be able to satisfy everyone. I know some of y'all watching this might also have really harsh parents, and I would just say that you should start off kind of small and then slowly build up to it, because that will help you get used to the style, and also your parents will be less, I guess, shocked about it if you're slowly easing them in, rather than if you just did a drastic change the next day. If your friends are not supportive of it, well, first of all, you deserve better friends. You deserve friends who care for you, who accept you for who you are. But again, just starting off slow can be a great way to ease others and also yourself into it. But also understand that it is not your job to satisfy everyone, and also not everyone is gonna be happy about everything you do, and like that's on them. And if they have something rude to say, well, ignore them, because they don't deserve your precious attention and energy. Sorry for changing the camera angle, the sun is being very annoying. But I also do think that having a safe place to talk about fashion is very important. Actually, I started my TikTok account during freshman year because I wanted to try out some fashion stuff, and I didn't really have any friends that was into fashion at the time, and the beginning of my TikTok account was very like not the way that I dress now, and that's okay because style is something that will evolve over time, and I just think that having that safe place to talk about fashion and to also put myself out there has helped with my confidence a lot in dressing the way that I do now. I know this was something that definitely helped me because by making friends who like the same fashion things that I did, I was able to talk about it with them, and we also just bonded, and it was a nice time. Highly recommend, but also you do need to stay safe because there are weird people on the internet. I'm gonna end this video here because the sun keeps on catching up to me even though I keep on moving, and also my camera is on the verge of death. But if you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up and also comment so I know that you enjoyed it. And that is the end of the video. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.
Before I officially end this video, I would like to thank ThreadUp again and to remind y'all to make sure to use the link down below for an extra 30% off of your first order when you use my code RAY. Okay, bye bye now.